Right now with the Engine 9000 debugger, we're going to look at Reshoot Proxima 3 that came out in 2023, just a couple of years ago, by Richard Lowenstein and Kevin Saunders and Martin Amon. And it's an incredible game. One of my favorite Amiga games of all time, I would say, and definitely, in my opinion, the best modern game. The prequel, Reshoot R, was also amazing. That one was horizontal, and this one is vertical. So if you haven't seen it in action, here it is for a sec. It's a really intense game, and technically, it's a tour de force. As you can see down in the corner here, it's always at 50 frames per second, and the colors, 515 colors on screen. So how do they do that? Its first stage is in dual playfield, but because it's AGA, that's usually 4-bit planes for the background and 4-bit planes for the foreground. So in this case, it looks like it's just using 4-bit planes for the foreground. So let's look at that. We take the sprites off too, and bit plane 0, 2, 4, and 6. So there you go. That is the foreground. So if I just scroll that by itself, it looks like that. So if I put the sprites back on, and then let's look at those 3 bit planes, bit plane 1, 3, and 5. And it's this cool kind of like axle effect that goes on in the background. So let's look at that moving. And if you click on bit plane 7, nothing changes. So it's just the 4 bit planes in the foreground and then the 3 in the back. So if we look at the palette visualizer, you'll see we take the sprites off. So from here over to here, you've got the 15 colors of the foreground, and then color 0, and these other 7 colors here, these 8 colors, make up the background. So the 3 bit planes. And the reason that it is so many colors, as you can see that the copper is changing the color all the way down here, and then it's also doing it down this line, all of these, and then they stop the gradient right down here. Blitter wise, if we put on the blitter visualizer and play it, then you can see all the enemies are being blit, but not our bullets, not the enemy bullets. So if we pause it here and go looking at the sprites, then these are all the sprites here. So let's take a look at them one by one. So sprite 0 is half of your ship and one of the bullets. And then sprite 1 is a bunch of the bullets. Sprite 2 are a bunch of enemy bullets that are multiplexed. Sprite 3, even more bullets. 4 more, 5 more. So it can get like crazy bullet hell kind of style. And then sprite 6 is a 64 pixel wide pattern. And then 7 completes the pattern. And this is used as a third parallax layer. So if you put everything back, you've got, the one layer right here, and then the special effects layer, and then this layer beneath. So 3 different layers. And sprite 6 and 7 also do the score at the top. So jumping into the copper visualizer, you can really see where the magic happens. Look at all this going on. Over here with the yellow, you can see bitplane modulo and bitplane playfield horizontal scroll values. So they change the scroll values all the way down the screen for the wavy lava effect. And then up here, it's changing some of the sprite colors. So here with all the green color changes, you've got changing color 0, color 17, 18, all the way up to 23. And those are changed on down the screen, just like we saw in the palette visualizer. So all these colors over here with the gradients, they're being changed over here with the move color command in the copper. Looking at the DMA stats, you can see the bit planes take up the most, and then the CPU, the copper, the audio. Is the audio really, really good in this? The music, excellent. This was really fascinating to discover. Once in a while, there's a narrative and some text and pictures come up on the screen. But when I clicked on the palette visualizer, look what happened here. So I was trying to dig into what was going on, and I'm looking at the copper visualizer, and the copper visualizer has changed from before, and there's this big gap here. And then right here on this yellow, it says BBLCon 0611, which I think is 8-bit plane dual playfield. So it looks like from here to here, it might be an 8-bit plane dual playfield, but the entire screen is in 7-bit plane dual playfield. So hopefully Richard Lowenstein will watch this and let us know if I'm right about what's going on here. Because I've never seen where it's kind of like dual playfield. Because here with the palette visualizer, it looks like there's 15 colors here and then 15 colors here. So it would be dual playfield 8-bit planes. So that is very cool and unique. Now, when you get to this first boss, the scroll starts moving backwards, which looks really awesome. This boss has a laser weapon. Let me try to pause it. Just about to die, but time enough to show you that it's just on one bit plane, the laser. So if you look at bit plane 1, 3, 5, 7, 6, you don't see it at all until you get to bit plane 0. And there it is. So it's just on one bit plane. So it should be faster to blit, because as you can see, the whole laser is being blipped to the screen. So level 2 is my personal favorite. I think it's the most beautiful with these clouds. So check it out for a second. If you put the blitter visualizer on, you'll see again that it's just blitting the enemies. But this level is different than level 1. Level 1 was using dual playfield, but here, if we switch on the palette visualizer, look at all the colors. That is 212 colors, so it's using all 8-bit planes. If I take this crazy amount of sprites away for a second, you can see a little better. It appears to me that he's repeated the palette in certain areas, I think to make the bit plane setup work. So if you take the palette visualizer off, you can see that the colors on the screen right now are 161, and it's set up with the 8-bit planes, but they do, even though it's not dual playfield, the palette setup kind of makes it like dual playfield. So bit plane 0, 2, 4, and 6, you've got the front layer. So play that for a second. And bit plane 1, 3, 5, and 7 make up the beautiful cloud layer. And if we peek into the copper visualizer, you can see, similar to the lava in the first level, you've got the bit plane playfield horizontal scroll values changing down the screen. So that creates the wavy effect of the clouds. And then there's also a third parallax sprite layer, which you can see with these white lines here. So the clouds are actually the top layer. They go over top of all these yellow structures here. And when escalation comes on to warn you of the boss, it looks like from the palette visualizer that it might be doing the same thing as the story parts, because BPL con 06601 here. So again, it might be dual playfield again temporarily in the middle of the screen. Look at this crazy amount of shots here. You switch over to the palette visualizer, if I can do that. Look at all the colors change. So those are the bullets flashing. So look at this crazy amount of bullets, all in 1, 2, 3, 4 sprite channels. Level 3 has this crazy sandstorm kind of 3D effect. What's interesting is the way that it's set up kind of changes the colors. Like, look at these yellow guys right there, right? And if I pause it and take a closer look, you take all the bit planes off, you've got a sprite over here for the third layer parallax. But then if you do these 4 bit planes, the guys look kind of dark and red, but then when you put the sand over top of them, they end up looking more yellow. So it changes how they look, and then when they come out of the sand over here, they look different. So it really adds to the effect. Watch them switch colors here. If we throw the palette visualizer on, you can see that there's 176 colors, and then in use on screen at this moment, 162. Okay, let's watch this guy spew bullet. And I'll do it with just the sprites until I die. And with this boss, you can really see the laser well. Look if I take off bit plane 0. See, it's gone. Just if you look at it with the glitter visualizer, it's a huge blit. But I think it's able to handle it because it's just the one bit. So this level has another cool visual effect with this kind of like ravine and these translucent biological things on the side. If we pause it and take a look at the palette, you've got 154 colors in the palette there, and then 149 colors on screen. So again, on this level, you've got the sprite background. When you put these 4 bit planes on, you can see like all the blue there, for example. But when you put the ravine sort of thing on top of it, then it changes the colors. So as it scrolls, that's why you get these kind of cool effects. In the copper visualizer, there's a few of the same colors being changed at different increments. look down the screen. It's a bit above my pay grade, but Richard himself responded to a message of mine on the English Amiga board after the game came out, and he was saying that in bitmap mode, uneven bit planes act as the 4-bit alpha channel. This is done by setting up the color registers in a rather unique way, and that's how transparency is achieved. So I'll link to that post where he explains some real technical things about the palette setup and how the copper was used for some of the visual effects. So yeah, I'll pin that down in the comments for you. This last level is one of my favorites too. It's got a similar kind of cloud effect to level 2, but this time it's kind of red and a little ominous. In the palette visualizer, we've got 277 colors, which is more than 256. So because they've copperized some of the colors there, and then the colors actually on the screen right here, 201. So watch a sequence like this and watch the frames per second. You'll see it's rock solid 50. It'll never change. I know that that was really important to Richard, but with all this stuff going on, it's crazy. And the sweetest effect on this level is look at that guy come out at you. There's this big blitz. Yeah, just look at all this stuff on the screen and tell me, does that ever go down below 50 frames per second? So don't doubt the Amiga. Look at this. Stock A1200. Look at these fire effects. Woo. Well, let's see that with the blitter visualizer here. Huge blitz. And again, 50 frames per second. So it really is an amazing game. And for those that underestimate the Amiga, a real showcase for the machine. I can't wait to see what they do next. Kevin Saunders is wrapping up Boss Machine, which is a horizontal shooter that looks like mind blowing. It's my most anticipated game by far. And I know Richard hinted that he may be making another Amiga game. I think he's been working on a version of this game for PC, for modern PCs. So that's something to look forward to. We're so lucky to have people so talented in the Amiga community. So I hope they make more and more games for as long as possible. It's a bright Amiga future. We also have MILV coming out, which looks like another amazing vertical bullet hell kind of shooter. So if you're a shmup fan, there's a lot to look forward to. So I'm excited. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Till next time. Take care.